Age is just a number. But it's an important number. You want to enjoy your life, you're not stopped by age. You are stopped by mindset. I mean, look at me, I'm 60 now, but what you did at that time just made me the way I am today.
Every right choice, you're proud of it.
It was fantastic.
Probably he should go back and say, I'm proud of you.
We look at consumers' journey, we look at their problems, we come out with best efficacious scientific solutions.
So people are focused so much that I want to fire myself, financial independence and retirement early. But what they're not paying attention is that what is your investment in the portfolio of health?
Stress has been called a bad thing. It's the way you respond to stress determines whether it is good or bad.
Namaste everyone, my name is Yukti Bhatia. Welcome to Wellness Unplugged Season 2, powered by Wellman Vitabiotics India. Today we are going to talk about wellness of men at each stage and age of life, right from their energetic 20s to 60s full of wisdom. Joining me today are our three incredible guests who each have their own unique perspective when it comes to wellness and mindful living. First, we have Dr. Mukesh Gupta, who's a renowned gynecologist, a motivational speaker, and an advocate of men's preventive health. He's here to make us understand how men's nutritional needs and hormonal changes have evolved through each decade. Today, through his guidance, we'll understand how awareness regarding the same can truly be a game changer. Welcome, Doctor.
Hi, thank you very much.
Next, joining us is Mr. Tejprakash Mishra, Head of OTX at Meyer Vitabiotics. With over 2 decades of experience in industries like OTC, FMCG, pharma, he brings us a very fresh and real perspective of corporate wellness and how modern men can stay fit regardless of the work-life pressure, the struggles at every stage of life. Welcome, Mr. Tejprakash.
Thank you.
And finally, before I introduce to you the special guest of the evening, let me tell you a little about him. He's an actor, an endurance athlete, and the brand ambassador of Wellman. He's somebody who continues to inspire millions of people to live a life full of discipline, purpose, and joy. He's a true example of timeless fitness. He's none other than Milind Soman.
Happy to be here.
Together, we are going to explore how men's wellness has transformed in each decade, starting right from the foundation built in 20s, the balance found in 30s, the turning point of our 40s, the reinvention in 50s, and the wisdom found in 60s. Before we dive into that conversation, I just wanted to have a quick understanding about the brand Meyer Vitabiotics. It has been a renowned name for decades in our country when it comes to wellness and supplementation. I wanted to just understand for the audience, what is the brand philosophy? How is it playing a role in men's wellness specifically?
Yeah, if you look at Vitabiotics, it was launched early 1970s by none other than Professor Dr. Kartar Lalwani. And at Meyer Vitabiotics, we believe in power of nutrition. We think harder to make healthcare simpler. So we look at consumers' journey, we look at their problems, we come out with best efficacious scientific solutions to ensure that they don't have those problems that they have today. So every now and then we continue looking at customer journey, we continue looking at the problems that consumers have. Yeah, so that is what we've been doing for the last 50 years. And as a company, we're there in more than 100 countries, and there are products that are doing wonderfully well. There are products, say, for example, if I talk about calcium, we are the leading, we have a leading brand worldwide. Yeah, the brand name is Osteocare. Similarly, we have a global head office at UK, London. And there are products that has got more than 93% market share. There's a product called Pregna Care. Even in India, we have products that are leading products in most of the categories that we operate in. So we believe in power of nutrition, we believe in power of health. And particularly if you look at men's health, particularly if you look at a product called Wellman. And I'm really happy that Milind is one of our power brand ambassadors that we have for Wellman. And Wellman as a brand, has a product for every stage and age of life. We have Wellman 50 plus, we have Wellman 70 plus, we have Wellman Hair Follic as well. So the brand for every stage and age of life has been formulated specifically to meet those requirements at that age. So that is what we've been doing for past 50 years.
We've often heard in the early 20s, men have got it very easy when we talk about hormonal fluctuations or any restrictions when it comes to movement or diet. Is there any myths in there, or there is some truth to it?
So although they are at the peak of the hormone, the testosterone peaks at somewhere around 18 to 20. And then after that, it just starts falling down by 1% over the years. But that doesn't mean that there is no fluctuation. There are a lot of factors at that age which will come in the way, whether it is their sleep cycle, whether there is their personal hormonal excess when they are looking at the sexuality, and also exposure to a lot of toxins. The sleep pattern is also in a very difficult phase at that time. So actually, it's a very big myth. So if they do not take care of the things around themselves or their lifestyle or their habits, then it is going to create chaos in their hormonal health.
Got it. So you mentioned about hormonal fluctuation and testosterone. That is one word that clicked in my mind. What is peak testosterone? At what stage can we see that?
So when a young boy becomes an adult guy, he goes through the phase of puberty, and testosterone is the hormone which plays a major part. And the testosterone hormone peaks at around 18, 19. It starts somewhere around 10, 11. And that's why they have the pubertal changes, the adrenarche, the pubarch, everything, the hormonal changes. And once they reach that age, it is actually that hormone which actually helps them to be what they are, the man they want to be.
The man.
Yes.
Okay. Talking to the man of the evening. In your 20s, I just wanted to understand, when you were in your 20s and you were...
I have a very bad memory.
Okay, let me remind you, when you were in your 20s, you must be trying to discover new career paths, modeling, acting. So when was the time when it clicked that you need to really focus on your health in your 20s?
I was very fit from the age of 9 or 10, so pre-puberty. I didn't really have to think about being healthy or fit for the last 50 years. I've always been very healthy, very fit. But that's not a usual situation.
From what I know, you were an athlete even at your younger age.
Yeah, it's an unusual circumstance where I started competitive swimming at the national level at the age of 9.
Yeah.
So till the age of 23. So my entire growing period from childhood to adulthood was during sports, doing competitive sports, not just sports, competitive sport at the national level. So that played a big part in the way my mind developed. Not just my body. Body develops naturally, as we know, and of course, depending on your lifestyle. But the mind can be influenced by many, many things. And if it's influenced primarily by a very disciplined life, then that can last you an entire lifetime. But if you have the discipline and again the knowledge of where you want to be, it becomes a little bit easier to make the right choices.
So talking about the 20s, Tejprakash, I wanted to understand. So do you think men in their 20s in today's time are much more aware about the importance of supplementation, or they still rely on quick fixes?
But to be honest, I think the awareness is definitely growing, because now people have a mobile handset in their hand, and information is just a click away. However, there are still many who don't believe in supplementation, and probably that's the kind of reactive approach many men have in their early 20s. So I think, yes, there are growing awareness, but there's still a lot to be done.
So if you get the chance to go back to the old 25-year-old Milind, will this be the same message you want to deliver to that guy?
I wouldn't need the message.
Add something else.
I wouldn't need it. I would just, today I'm saying, it's amazing what I did at that age.
Every right choice, you're proud of it.
It was fantastic.
Probably he should go back and say, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm amazed. Look at me, I'm 60 now, but what you did at that time just made me the way I am today.
Yeah, so it brings you back to the same concept.
Yeah.
If you've followed a disciplined life for a very long time, even the smallest change can make you prove your own point to yourself that you've been making the right choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Till 23, let me tell you how my habits formed. Till 23, I had not tasted a soft drink. I had not eaten in a restaurant till the age of 23. Okay? Because in my home, they were very clear about these things, that these things are really bad for you. We don't do it.
Right.
My mother and my father, home food was the best food. And we grew up believing that. But when I became a model and I began traveling all over the world, again, like I said, you're exposed to so many things. And you say, okay, let me try this, let me try that, why not? And it was the discipline that I had grown up with that saved me from being addicted to any of these things.
I love that you said that. Because this is what people have to understand. They will not realize, the young generation in their 20s, they get carried away by these influencing things happening around them. And they don't realize that what he mentioned here is the gold mine of the message, that irrespective, that if you land up having some unhealthy lifestyles, and he very beautifully pointed out that you have to look at the goods, and those, if you have not paid attention to the rest of the things, then you can't afford to do those mistakes. They need to also understand the kind of discipline he followed.
Right.
And the kind of lifestyle he followed.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to change. And in the 20s, you are building up and you're investing for your old age. And that is a time when your testosterone, which is at its peak, is helping you to build up your muscles, build up your bones, build up your systems in place, even your cognitive and behavioral and neurological aspect. And if you do it rightly at that time, it's like a money back policy. You're invested at that time, and you're enjoying reaping the benefit at that.
It's like any investment.
Yes.
It's always long term.
When it comes to investment in youth, I want to understand if we are talking about early 20s.
Yes.
According to your medical understanding, how early should a man visit the medical places for their screening? I mean, how early should somebody go for medical tests to just understand the hormonal fluctuations, if at all any?
So I always say that, sometimes we have to understand the power of preventive healthcare. You don't want to go when your car is broken down on the road. You go for a regular servicing. So you have to evaluate yourself in the right way. Normally our tendency is that kuch problem hoga, if there's something, then I'll go. It's always smarter to find. But if there is some alarm signs, and if you think that if it is to do with your whether it is to do with your activity, whether it is to do with your physical ability and mental health, which is a very, very important aspect which the kids in the 20s do not realize, but it's a very, very, very important thing that they should start thinking about. So if not in the 20s, at least in the 30s, you should start thinking about it. 40s for sure, there's no choice.
Right.
Right? And in the 20s, you have to look at those warning signs and symptoms. And there is merit in interacting with the right people with knowledge to see to it that how you can invest and do the right things at that age.
Right.
And it is not just a checkup, but also an interaction with those people to learn the right things of life.
There's a certain hustle when it comes to maintaining work-life balance.
Yes.
So what is, Milind, your message to men in their 30s who are not really able to maybe maintain that kind of balance, or who just use this as an excuse, I don't have the time to stay fit?
What can I tell them? That is their choice. It is absolutely their choice. If they feel that something is important or not important, that is the choice that they have made, to see something as important or not important. Nobody has told them that you have to do this or that. It is up to the individual to say that I need to take care of my health so that I can enjoy the money I'm going to make,
Right.
or the position I'm going to achieve. If you achieve the position, make the money and then spend it in the hospital. Sorry, doctor. What good is it?
No, I will go one step ahead. You have all the crores and crores in your bank account and your bitcoins, but you cannot get up from your bed and go to the toilet. What good it is?
What is the
Right.
good of it? How are you enjoying life? How is that life? What is a life? What is a life spent just running after money?
You've led major growth at Meyer Vitabiotics. Do you think the rise in demand in supplementation is because men in their 30s have started to understand that they need extra support?
I think yes, because if you look at men in 30s, that's the time when probably they get married, they have a baby, and they're also juggling with their career. So they're at crossroads wherein they are not able to look after themselves, and they realize for the fact that probably they have been missing out on something. And there's a sort of increased awareness wherein people have started supplementing, with great supplements. One of the reasons why Wellman is doing wonderfully well is because the sort of quality that it has, the sort of legacy that it has. We are UK's #1 multivitamin company. We are a company that launches products only after thorough research. We are a scientifically, proven formulation. So that's another reason why probably we are doing wonderfully well.
Okay, so if we talk about 30s, I've seen men are definitely facing many medical issues. What are some mandates when it comes to medical screening? They should definitely do it.
Okay, so let me put it as I am a gynecologist. So I see a lot of men when they come with their partner for fertility issues. So that is one of the major things, and I'm telling you, that is one thing for which man is ready to do the investigation and workup and everything. But primarily, we cannot ignore the other things. For example, thyroid metabolism, which is also, it's not just the females. The females are much more sincere. I need to tell you that. The females are much more sincere with their checkups and their blood values and other things. But the guys, they take it casually unless they are hit by it. So that is another very important thing. So then insulin sensitivity, or let's put it this way, there are a lot of them at that age in their 30s who are pre-diabetic. So they're not taking care of their sugars, they're not taking care of their HbA1cs, and they're not aware about it. Having one checkup, maybe not yearly, maybe at least once in a few years, if you are not having a family history, you need to keep yourself and watch. So remember, the take-home message is, know your numbers.
So with the terms like fatigue and exhaustion, there's also a term which is quite in trend these days, which is called the silent decline, especially for the men in their 40s. So what is your take on that terminology?
So see, these are the terminologies which the social media enjoy to put, and they like to put it. So
The silent decline.
Yeah.
It sounds like a movie.
Yeah, so
Very
you're
dramatic.
at the peak of your hormones, and the peak of the performance, the peak of your physical health, and the peak of your everything. I can do it, and you feel that I am invincible in your 20s and maybe entering into the 30s, and then you come to the harsh reality: the things are not as good as what it used to be. I'm not able to do what I am thinking. So he is an exception. So let's strike it out because he has done the right investment at the right time.
Right.
So he's reaping the profits of his investments. But most of the people at that age do the wrong investments. And they land up putting their focus on the wrong things. And that is what is silent decline. I mean, you start falling down. So testosterone, it starts falling down. So because of that, a lot of their physical activity is going to come down. And this is the time when they start losing their muscle mass, they start landing up with, if they're not paying attention and exposed to chemicals and not taking care of their health, even the bone health, that is osteoporosis will start entering in. It's also going to affect their various different other health issues like sugar may go for a toss. And one of the very important thing is their ability to perform physical aspects of their life is when you are not keeping up with the pace of what is needed. Even collagen, that matters. So a woman is very particular about her skin and the texture and the risk of wrinkles. Men take it casually. And then when it is too late, then they say, okay, because collagen is also falling down. Collagen is that protein which is holding it behind the superficial layer of the skin. So all those aspects that's the silent decline. And we have to accept that it may be just a little bit of physicality. But what is the best is, it is the peak of their life when it comes to their psychological well-being if they are doing good, or their professional well-being if they are doing good. And if you look at the ability to choose the right and wrong, they are at the best point. So ignore the decline and focus on what better you can do to keep up with the pace.
Men in our country are going through many struggles, many reasons to be stressed about. But if we specifically talk about just health and lifestyle, we see deficiencies in men in early 30s and 40s. So supplementation with the perspective of preventive health, do you think that's the call of an hour?
I think it's extremely important. If you look at probably there's now growing awareness amongst men and women alike, and there are people, fortunately, now the help is at their fingertips. Now people can actually scroll and get awareness about Wellman. They can just type vitabiotics.in and they'll get a host of information about supplementation, why supplementation, what kind of supplementation they will need, because we have tools on our website which actually can tell them whether they require supplementation or they don't require supplementation. They don't even need to visit doctor. So I believe, the kind of lifestyle that we lead, is quite stressed. We don't have time to plan our meals. And over a period of time, there's a decay in the kind of food that we eat. We end up eating a lot of junk. We don't have time. So I think we need to have, micronutrients, which is nothing but multivitamin and multimineral supplements. So macros and micronutrients are really important to. Macros are your the sort of food that you eat, right? And you actually get micronutrients from your food. But now, over a period of time, the farming practices have, undergone a huge change. So I believe, micronutrient deficiencies causes a lot of diseases. So to prevent, as you asked me a question, to prevent those diseases, I think micronutrient supplementation, which is multivitamin, multi-mineral supplements, are really essential.
So if I talk about your 40s, you were already at your peak in your prime.
No, I did Ironman at 50.
Okay, so that
He's
must have
raising the
been your
bar.
peak.
I did it again at 60, 4 weeks ago.
No, it's a good thing to flex if he's
Of course.
achieved so much.
Of course.
Everybody around is
It was
getting...
40, I was so young. I didn't even feel that I'm 40. Now, of
So
course, I
you
don't
never
feel that I'm
faced that
60.
silent decline. You never had that feeling of silent decline.
No, never. See, of course you have that feeling. And it's not silent. Because I am so focused on performance from a young age, that decline is very evident to me. It is obvious to me. I can see it. So there is a decline for me in, say, power, strength, raw strength, in speed. So I'm not as fast. I used to swim very fast as a sprinter. So I know that I cannot swim as fast as I used to swim. But what has improved? Endurance.
Right.
Incredibly. Not only physical endurance, mental endurance, emotional endurance. Not only that, my experiences that I've had have made me stronger. My understanding of how the world functions, how I'm functioning, has improved. All those things, there is a balance. I've lost speed and power, but I've improved wisdom and experience and endurance.
So coming to the natural evolution, the aging element, what is your take when I talk about supplementation? Like a person who's in their 50s might go through some natural changes, lesser bone health, heart rate problem, many issues as such. What is your take on supplementation, making things better with supplementation?
So medically, if you look at the age, right, this is the time when your body has started declining in the levels of those hormones which were at the peak at 20s, and then now they're gradually. So say, for example, the growth hormone, it's coming down 20-30% every half a decade. And the testosterone coming down, collagen coming down. So similarly, the GI tract's ability and your metabolism is also changing. The metabolism of a person at 20s and metabolism of a person in the 50s are different. We have to accept that. The body is changing because of that. The hormonal levels are changing. So you need to keep up with that. Now, if your lifestyle and your dietary habits are as what it was in 20s, it's not going to be good for you. You need to understand that there is value to it. And then there is a comfort zone you reach. At that age, there is a new set of problems that you land up with. There is something called as emptiness syndrome. The kids are not around, loneliness. The dietary pattern is, I like this, I will have this. Every day in the morning, I'm going to have this as a breakfast every day. And they create a pattern. The lack of variability in the diet and the difficulty in trying to change your dietary pattern to incorporate various micronutrients and multivitamins in your daily dietary intake is the reason why the micronutrients and the antioxidants and the multivitamins are a fantastic boon of today's pharmacological and the scientific industry. But it should not be done randomly. It should be done under advice with your doctor, as per your age, as per your body's requirements, and then it works like a boon.
Because many people in their 50s and 60s, people who are senior citizens beyond the age of 60, they think of supplementation as somebody that could either maybe a chemical supplement, something that is not good for the body. They might as well just take the exact nutrient through natural food. Is that the right approach or not?
So obviously
even
a
if they're
natural
eating
source
very
is definitely
less.
better, no? So natural source is always better, no?
Yeah.
But the problem is the natural source that you're choosing most often than not is not giving you the optimal amount that your body needs. Say, for example, calcium metabolism. So in a woman, when they reach menopause, similarly in male, they reach andropause. So when you're reaching that age, there is an element of osteoporosis setting in. The bones are getting weaker. Why is it that those fracture neck femurs and the fractures are more common in senior citizen as compared to younger? Younger, they land up with fracture because of accidents.
Right.
The senior population landing up, they're getting up and going to toilet or sleeping in the bed, and they get fractures because of the osteoporosis. So you need to realize that with age, your body's structure is changing because the hormones are changing and the metabolism is changing.
And they're not jumping. They should
Got it.
jump. My mother still skips. She's 86.
So that is, see if you're...
But
you're
people stop
eating well.
jumping at the age of 40.
Right.
They don't jump anymore.
Yeah,
If you
because
ask anybody
because the
who's
joints-
40 years old, can you jump? They can't jump. They can't hop. They can't skip.
So if somebody wants to jump when they're at their 80s, what is the right time, or should they never stop?
They should never stop. Why should you stop till the time you're dead?
What if they're
That any of
facing
your
joint
abilities-
issues in their 40s?
So they're facing joint issues because they are not taking care.
Yes, because they're not taking care of the joints. I mean, why at the age of 40 would you have joint issues?
Right.
Because you have not done the right things.
Right.
You've not had the right exercises. You may be not able to deal with stress properly. Stress is a big thing.
Right.
You know, I'll tell you another thing about stress. Stress is not a bad thing. Stress has been called a bad thing. Stress is stress. The way you respond to stress determines whether it is good or bad. Like any situation, no situation is good or bad. How you respond to the situation will make it good or bad. Everything is an experience. It can teach you to live a better life.
Yeah, it also
That is the
means the best
positive.
teacher.
Right.
That is the positivity about it. So today we have demonized stress, like stress, oh my God, stress, how are we going to deal with stress? How are we going to...
Trauma is
This
the
is the
new trendy word.
definition of fitness. We talk about fitness as six packs, biceps, this marathon, Ironman. It is not a level of fitness. It is not a definition of fitness. Fitness is your ability to deal with stress in a positive manner. Physical stress. So a marathon is a physical stress. Running 10 kilometers is a physical stress. Yoga is a physical stress. Any activity is a physical stress. Is your body able to deal with that physical stress in a positive manner? Are you getting injured? Are you breaking your bones? That means you're not able to deal with physical stress. Mental stress. Are you getting anxiety? Are you getting frustrated? All those things. Emotional stress, same thing. Are you able to deal with it? If you're not able to deal with mental, emotional, and physical stress, that determines your level of fitness or unfit.
I came across these studies in fertility that a couple who's trying for pregnancy, if they are having stress and psychologically they are worked up, the success rate falls down drastically. And that era, I'm talking about 25 years back, the success rate of IVF, the topmost treatment, was hardly 30-40%. And by doing this, it was 10 to 15% extra advantage. You know why? Because there is something called as hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis in our brain. Hypothalamus is in the brain, and pituitary is the master of endocrine orchestra. Hypothalamus is actually the center which controls pituitary, and pituitary releases the hormones, which acts on the gonads. As in male, it is testes, and female, it is ovary. Now, everything, all your hormones, which leads to menstrual cycle in female and the androgen cycle of forming the testes and the sperms, is because of that. Hypothalamus is the center for hunger, thirst, emotion. And if that is disturbed, your hormonal levels are disturbed. So if your psychological aspect is disturbed, if your nutrition is disturbed, there is science to it, that it is disturbing the pituitary, and pituitary in turn is affecting the gonads, a female gonad that is ovary and the male gonad that is testes. So we have to give value to all aspect of it. That's why when he said that you need to also look at not just that stress, look at how you handle the stress, it is going to give you a better output.
Tejprakash, I wanted to ask, in the corporate world, people who are in their 50s, they often say they are too tired to start over. So what is your message to people, to men specifically in their 50s, in the corporate world?
Okay, that's quite an interesting question. Thank you so much for that. I think it's quite an excuse. There's no age to start over. We can start any age. Today is the right age, even if somebody's at 50 or somebody's at 80. I'd like to give an example. We have an influencer called Tripat Singh. He's also a wellness influencer. Mm-hmm. He did a world record at the age of 80. He's an octogenarian, right? He did within 45 minutes, he did 600 burpee push-ups. That's a lot. And he made actually a world record. He's an Indian. He consumes Wellman 70 plus regularly. So he created world record. So there's no age, as such that I'm too tired or I'm too old to start over.
So for our audience who want to understand Wellman on a much deeper level, what do you think what makes Wellman very different from the regular multivitamins available in the market?
See, like I told you earlier, every product that we have in the market, including Wellman, Wellman 50 plus, 70 plus, and Wellman Hair Folic. Mm-hmm. So all the products are born out of deep research that we do before launching any products. All the products that we have meets the regulatory requirements in their respective countries, including India. So the product is formulated in a manner that it meets the requirement of that stage and age of life, whether it is Wellman 50 plus, 70 plus. And the product is optimally formulated. And we have a great amount of reviews from the users from the customers who have already used that product. So Wellman definitely stands out. It's a great brand. The brand is a sort of leading brand in many countries across the world. And hence, I would rather recommend that people can try Wellman or Wellman 50 plus, 70 plus or Hair Folic depending on their need.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that if I were to look at using a supplement, the only company I would look at is Wellman.
Yeah.
So we were talking about endurance and mindful living in 50s.
Right.
What is your take, Milind? I mean, do you focus more on the endurance part of it in your 50s, or you want to live a much more mindful life without really getting worried about endurance strength?
I'm not worried about anything. The reason for that is because I feel I'm prepared to face whatever life has in store for me. It is a part of my psyche now.
Right.
Because I feel that I have done the things that I need to do and the right things that were good for me, I feel that there's nothing in life that can happen that I cannot face.
Right.
So I'm not worried about anything.
So this is nothing but emotional intelligence. So when we say what is health, health is not just physical and physical well-being, it's also mental, social and emotional well-being. So that is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has 4 pillars. One is self-awareness, second is self-management, and then comes empathy of understanding people around you, and then comes the way you react and respond to that. So he mentioned that in a very smart way, and that shows that he has that emotional intelligence and emotional well-being. Now, if you look at this age in 50s, you will see that there is one aspect that is emotional well-being is gone for a toss because of a lot of stress that leads to high cortisol, and that hormone is affecting you. Your thyroid is definitely something which has gone a little bit haywire. Your growth hormone has absolutely come down drastically. Your testosterone is falling down. So your insulin regulation is really disturbed because of the choices that you have made, right? All these aspects are affecting your health to that abnormal adaptation, which leads to abnormal health or poor health.
So I wanted to understand, if a man in his 60s or maybe beyond, somebody who's a senior citizen, if we talk specifically about their emotional well-being, do you think at that age where you're mentioning adapting to changes becomes quite a thing? It's difficult at that age to adapt to changes. So factors like maybe social engagement or any other factor that you would like to suggest, can that have an impact on the emotional well-being?
So it depends on the personality. Age is just a number.
Definitely.
Right? So for a
But
person...
an important number.
Yes.
It's an important number.
Respect it.
You have to respect that number. It's true.
Right.
But the number should not limit you in terms of you enjoying life. That is why they say age is a number.
Right.
You want to enjoy your life, you are not stopped by age. You are stopped by mindset. So as we were saying, if you become less adaptable for some reason, you're less able to change your habits, then that is going to affect your life. Then age is becoming a number that is going to stop you. Otherwise, age has no relevance at all.
The first and foremost thing that we need to be valuing ourselves will be that we need to take care of our health. So people are focused so much that I want to fire myself. Financial independence and retirement early. I want to retire at 60 with a good amount of corpus fund in my bank balance, which will take care of my retirement age, and I'm going to enjoy. But what they're not paying attention is that what is your investment in the portfolio of health? And if you're not invested well in your health portfolio, your calciums have not been good, your ions have not been good, your minerals, vitamins have not been good, your sugars have not been good, then no amount of money is going to help you.
But I wanted to understand, Wellman, in wellness category, where do you see it going, leading towards in coming few years?
So Wellman is going to be one of the leading brands that we have. It's already doing wonderfully well. It has got great acceptance not only by the customer but doctors as well. I mean, it's also prescribed brand that we have. It's bought over the counter as well. So we call it a OTC brand. It can be bought over the counter because it's a supplement. It's a food supplement. And let me tell you, we are the only brand that launched Wellman 50 plus, 70 plus. There is no brand in the country which has got such an assortment. The problem that men have are different than the women. So one pill cannot solve the problem of men and women together. So there are many companies that do it. But as a brand, as a company, we think differently. We think harder to make healthcare simpler, as I said earlier. So that's the reason we have Wellman Hair Folic and Wellwoman Hair Folic separately. We don't have similar formulation. And we've been doing wonderfully well ever since Milind came on board. So thanks for that.
I didn't know that. You never send me numbers.
So a man in his 60s who has not had the similar kind of lifestyle and who's now going through many lifestyle disorders or diseases, if we may call it that, what is your suggestion to increase vitality and longevity in that case? Like if somebody is going through a guilt factor now.
I love to give this take-home message to my patients. The rule of 5. Okay, if you really want to work whatever you have done in the past, now you want to correct it. Number 1, nutrition. Take care of what you eat. Take care of when you eat. And take care of how much you eat. Next is exercise. Your body should be functional. It can be as little as to start with, that is movement. They don't move. They don't get out of the bedroom. They don't get out of the house. They need to move out. They need to move. The third aspect is lifestyle. What are you doing with it? There is a set of people who are only having evening parties and alcohol and music and time pass. And there are other set of people who are having a morning yoga session and exercise session and going to the club and exercise. So you have to understand, because at that age, your muscles are actually getting lysed. And the muscles are getting smaller and weaker. And you need to actually work on strengthening them. Then comes medication. You need to respect your body's needs. Suppose there is a deficiency of micronutrients, you need to take care of those micronutrients. Calcium needs to be there. Check your hemoglobin. If it is low, you need to replenish it. There are so many of these antioxidants which really help you to delay the aging to some extent because of their body's requirements. There is some things like, for example, those essential micronutrients which are lacking in your diet, which will help you. So ask your doctor for these supplements and medications depending on your medical condition. So you need to it is not to be taken lightly. You need to take it and give respect to it. And the most important is motivation to follow all these things. So that is something I live. But I have a message about him. And I'm going to say what is his message, which should be his life is the message. That is the legacy he'll leave behind when he leaves. His life is the message.
Very well put. Very well put. Thank you for joining us in this Wellness Unplugged Season 2. And thank you so much again.
Very happy to be here.